How do we prepare for a major transition in our lives?
I had to be okay with failing at this is the person who I want to be. Right now it doesn't look like that, but I'm on my way.
We're going to go through that process of sanctification or transition like we're talking about until the day we die.
It was hard for me to wake up and to do ministry and to talk to all these people. I don't know if it was just I didn't want to do it or I just didn't have the energy and the capacity to do that.
Has there ever been a time where the enemy attacks you during those transition periods, makes you question if you're making the right decision?
100%.
What's your last name? Arias?
That's crazy.
I was about to do an intro, but
That's a Pokemon, bro. That's crazy. Arias.
Oh my God.
Are we rolling?
Oh man. Yeah, we rolling. That gotta like make it in the bloopers or something. Arias.
At least a little so.
Mateo Arias. That's crazy, bro. I might have said your last name maybe like once before in my life. That's crazy. All right, let's get into let's get into the conversation. So Mateo Arias is going to be bringing another Arias into the world, actually, pretty soon. Because can we congratulate this man? Hand claps in the comment section. He just got engaged to his lady, Denisha. So this literally happened like when?
Literally last night.
Yeah. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about transitional periods and how we navigate those. But I haven't even heard the story of how that happened. So, bro, tell me how that happened.
Yeah. So me and my girl, we've been dating for a cool minute, and it was the three of us because she also has a daughter. We went to this restaurant in Corona Del Mar. It was really nice, really just outdoor. And then after we ate, I saw this on their internet page, but also we saw it driving to it. We saw how they had this lit up gondola in the front, and so we went at night. We go to the gondola, and she was just, "Oh, this is pretty, wally-wall, whoop-de-whoop." And then I already had a present for her, and it was a Bible, but in the very corner of it was her name and my last name, and so you know what I'm saying. So as she was reading it, she was like, "Oh, this is cute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
And so as she was reading it, it gave me time to go down on the knee. And then I asked her to be my wife. She said yes. And then I also got her daughter a ring too.
Oh,
so that way, I can promise her that I'm going to take care of you as much as I'm going to take care of your mom.
Yeah.
And I'm going to love you as much as I love your mom. And we're a family. So you're being married into this as well."
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
I just want to give her some love.
Did she see it coming or no?
You know what? We've always had conversations about it.
I hope so.
But hello. Yeah. But so it's interesting because where we're getting it, we're expecting it to get it down later this month. Mm-hmm. But they go ahead, gave me an email that I could pick it up sooner. So she knew about it, but she didn't expect it to happen so soon.
Got you.
So yeah.
You guys got a date yet or what?
Yeah.
What do you?
We got a little something brewed up.
Spill all to you. People already commenting like, "I want an invite."
Hey, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, bro. I don't think y'all getting an invite. Never mind. That's a whole thing. Anyways, navigating transition periods, bro. You brought the topic up, so I kind of want to let you. Where do you want to go with that? Talk about it.
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot, especially. I've only been a Christian ever since 2021. No? Yeah, 2021. Mm-hmm. No?
About there. 2020, 2021, something like that.
2021. Yeah. I even forgot my own story. So I think just going from an unbeliever for basically all my teenage life, childhood, even a little bit of my young adult life to that decision was already a huge transition. Yeah. And even something with relationally, I've always ran from the fact that I could be a runner. You know what I mean? Just always, operating from that space of like the Belichick rule. Like I'd rather leave when it's too early instead of it being too late.
I feel you. Yeah.
From my own childhood traumas and stuff like that. It was really just a mechanism for keep me safe. And so, but now all of a sudden, like we even texted you this where I'm like, now I'm Family Guy. Now, you know what I mean?
Family Guy sent you a wild gif of that one. Yeah.
And so, especially with us being in our young adult age, there's been so
I appreciate
huge
that.
What are you, 27?
27. I'm hanging on
Let's
to
go.
it. They're kicking me out in 3 years, dog.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's been such huge transitional periods, but I feel like most of the time we just fall into the transition and we end up feeling so lost and so discouraged when really we should be looking at it as, oh, God's taking me from one place to the other.
That's correct.
So I feel like that's why that was really huge on my heart, because I wish there was more of a space to talk about the realness of those transition periods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, man. I feel like let's talk about, I guess, the pre-transition. Like how do we prepare for a major transition in our lives? Or you kind of said something where it's like sometimes we just fall into the transition and we didn't even realize that a transition was happening. So like how have you prepared for transition periods where you can even tell a story if you didn't see it coming, where you knew something was coming and like, I got to get ready for this. You knew that you were gonna want to propose to Denisha. How did you prepare for that? But it doesn't even have to just be that. Anything that comes to mind as far as like preparing for a transition period.
Yeah. And I think the main generic questions is knowing myself, knowing how I'm feeling, knowing where God is calling me to, all these things about knowing myself, which is really great. But I think even to peel back that layer is really, hold on, I got to burp. Crazy.
It's all good.
I think that really starts off with having a time to be alone. And for me, that line can be easily crossed because I like to isolate. But it's almost a situation with Jacob being alone to wrestle with God. I think that we need a season. Of course, a season can be marked by a prayer session. It could be marked by a couple days, a month, however long God intends for you to be in that season of alone, to where you need to wrestle stuff out with God.
Yeah.
You need to really know what it is you've been holding on to. Almost like the episode you had with Randall, to where, you have this emigram. Oh, you're just a hothead and everything like that. You know what I mean? And of course, that can be really good. Like for me with running, it was like, I just don't hold on to anything that needs to be held on to, which, I mean, can be good in a sense. But more importantly, it's like, but you need to be committed to someone or something. So we need to switch up this trait that has been like maybe ruining season, maybe not. I mean, God's plans are perfect. So, but for me, especially with like the marriage thing, that personality trait needed to be attacked and it needed to be wrestled out with God.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why do you run? Okay, well, what is it that you're running from? What is it that you ultimately desire? All those things needed to be attacked alone with God.
Yeah.
And because it allowed me to get the revelation from him, which ultimately is the best revelation we can ever get.
Yeah, that's
you know
good.
what I mean?
I wanted to ask a question right there because it's interesting the language you use. I don't think I've heard it said that way to where, you're talking about you have this running issue.
Yeah.
It needs to be attacked. People usually say it needs to be worked out. Is there any specific reason you said attacked rather than something more softer?
Yeah. And I think obviously our language is powerful. We just learned that today from Pastor Joel.
Yeah.
But I think with the language that we choose to use, there's a passivity that comes along with it. When it's like, it's just gonna work itself. That's almost like saying, it's just gonna work itself out eventually.
Yeah.
And everything like that, which is great, which is cool. Not everything needs to be a ferocious pace, but there's something like that to where I needed to, what other words other than attack it? Like I needed to, even something like in the Jacob story when it's talking about wrestling with God, obviously you watch pro wrestling. I used to wrestle in high school. That is the least passive thing we could ever do. You are go, 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 go. Yeah. Even in high school, it was 3 rounds of 3 minutes. And you are, I love the analogy because like with jiu-jitsu being similar, I used to do that ever since I was 10. That they say that's like a chess game. Wrestling, that's a chess game on crack. If you take a breather for a little bit, you're gonna get taken down or you're gonna get pinned. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And even in pro wrestling, if you just like look to the side, all of a sudden someone's going through a chair, someone's going through a table, someone's like, oh my God, it's insane. That's why we keep on watching it. Yeah. And that's why I think hopefully God is choosing the language of you need to attack that thing with a velocity or else you're just going to let it prolong till who knows how long.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. I hear it a lot. There are things that you don't want to take into marriage, whether it be an addiction, whether it be bad habits, or a certain, this sounds like a type of almost personality trait, negative personality trait that you wanted to work on. And that doesn't get done in a day, a month. You know, I'm sure you can make some improvement over the course of a year. Yeah. But yeah, man, that is so important to take into something like a marriage, to attack those things that you definitely don't want to take into a marriage, that your future wife doesn't want to be there. And you're doing that for her. You're also doing that for yourself, and you're doing that for God. So that's a very honorable, amazing thing to do. Can you talk about, so we talked about going into like a marriage. Can you talk about transition periods when it comes to like, this is probably your biggest transition period, going into marriage, other than maybe committing your life to Christ. So can you talk about what that transition period looked like for you and how you navigated that?
Yeah. So even like growing up, never really grew up in a Christian household, was baptized Catholic, but I had a grandmother who was a practicing Catholic. Other than that, there was things that happened in 2020 with me losing 3 friends, 2 from suicide. Another one died of some allergy thing. And I was so lost in despair that when I was finally presented the gospel, I was ready for that change. I was ready for something different to overcome my life. And I was able to not sell in because it wasn't like a pitching point, but obviously Christ says like whoever wants to save his life must lose it for my sake. Mm-hmm. I was ready to lose my life because I was over it. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was hard, maybe like introducing new principles, Christian people in general. That was such a new transition to it. I was like, wow, this is different. But I was ready for that change because I was ready to let go of my old life. Right. And if I wasn't ready, there wouldn't be any space for that new stuff to come in. Mm. So I think that is the overwhelming factor, that I was ready to lose my old life. Mm. Yeah.
That's crazy. So what did that transition like actually look like though, when you took that first step and now I guess you entered the process of sanctification pretty quickly? 2021 doesn't like it feels long ago, but it wasn't actually that long ago to where it's a whole change of lifestyle. What does that look like to go from a non-believer, no relationship with Christ, into a relationship with Christ? You talk about like being sold out, giving your life to him. What are the major things that you had to, give away out of your life to step into that real relationship?
Yeah. And I think that's even similar to like what you're saying, like, oh, before marriage, we want to let go of some stuff before we go into it. Right. And it's like, I had to be okay with failing at the things I was trying to give up on. I had to be okay with failing at, this is the person who I want to be. Right now it doesn't look like that, but I'm on my way. So with me, I was a pothead. I love smoking. That was my jam. And I had to constantly fall on my face to where even here at the barber shop, I was trying not to smoke. And then I would go to my car to go to lunch. Someone asked me, bro, you want to hit this? Oh, okay, cool. I'd be sitting in my car. Oh my God. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I just did it. And it would be so defeating. But I had to get back up and I had to keep on trying.
Yeah.
And there's big instances like that with the transition, with porn, with really just my own personal comfort. I think those things were really huge. And day by day, I had good days, I had bad days. And guess what? Today, I still have good days and I still have bad days of that old man trying to come to life again. But it is my duty to kill that man again. So I have to be okay with that journey. I don't know because practically, man, obviously community helped me with that, but I really would want to give God the glory. And those times when I'm at his feet crying, when my soul is crushed, when my heart is heavy, I just was giving it to him. And he was taking it.
Yeah.
That could make anyone new. But I had to humble myself to do that. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. I love it. Yeah, just you even saying that brings me back to where I was when I really sold out for Christ and like all the things that I gave up. I think of giving up friendships and then having to navigate that and the awkwardness, and I probably didn't handle it all that healthy or the best way. Same struggles with porn, struggles with girls in general. Yeah, man. And then just going through the process of sanctification. And we're going to go through that process of sanctification or transition like we're talking about until the day we die, which is wild to think about. But you touched on something. You talked about community and how community helped you. And that is actually something that I did want to get into. I feel like wise counsel can help us navigate major transition periods. Like, I'm sure you didn't just date Denisha and then decided one day you're going to get married. I hope you talk to people about it, right? Yeah. So it's decisions like that. If you can start thinking about it like right now, like what are some times where it's like wise counsel either helped you avoid something that wasn't good, and you took that and you followed it and it turned out great, or wise counsel, I think I just said it right, wise counsel helped you go into something that was positive and good, like a marriage. Yeah.
And that's where like the scripture, like a brother is born for adversity, is huge, because they can help you see things that you just can't. Whether it's your own emotions that's letting you not see it, whether it's you just don't want to look at what's coming along, whatever the case may be. I feel like when my first, I've always had periods of isolation since I was like little. Mm-hmm. It was just easier for me to be alone and handle whatever it is I was feeling. Yeah. And then come back into society when everything was cool. That's just always how I worked. But when I had that first instance as a Christian and this isolation period, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was going on. It was even more confusing because it's like, oh, like this old man's came back, and like, especially when you have depression or whatever, it's even more defeating. Yeah. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? And I think that's where community helped me. This was actually early last year, of being able to not be okay around people. Mm-hmm. That was whether it was my own pride, my own insecurities, my own discomfort. I just couldn't expose myself like that because I didn't know how people were going to take that in. Yeah.
Can you talk about that more? Being able to not be okay around people.
Yeah. I'm an emotional guy, and like when it comes to a movie, I could just cry a little bit. It's like, oh, that's so sweet. But when I'm actually dry heaving crying, When with my mentor, I'm over here crying in his arms.
Yeah.
I don't let anyone do that for me.
I feel that.
But I was literally putting myself in these not even, I don't want to say a situation, but in these circumstances to where I was allowing people to love on me when I didn't have the energy to give them, when I didn't have the smile, when I wasn't laughing, and I was allowed to be healed. I really attribute that time to the scripture to where the paralyzed man and came to Jesus by his friends, carrying him on that mat. I felt like I was that paralyzed man. It was hard for me to wake up and to do ministry and to talk to all these people. I just didn't, I don't know if it was just I didn't want to do it or I just didn't have the energy and the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
So they came to me. So they came to me and they brought me to him.
That's beautiful.
And it's like, okay, like I almost say that in a way where it's like I take the credit of doing that, but really it was like God breaking me to where this was the only choice. And I had to be available for that breaking.
Yeah.
Or else I wouldn't get that breakthrough. So it's
You just dropped a bar on y'all.
Yo!
X-Bar, clip that. That's crazy. Okay, that was beautiful.
Yeah, so
Sorry, go ahead.
that is one of the instances. And you know, even too, I think when it came to talking to people and about like addressing what's been going on in my heart, I was scared to see how people were going to react. Yeah. Because maybe it was also a people-pleasing thing of I want people to see me in a high esteem. Yeah. I don't want people to have to not look at me and think, oh, Mateo, he's laugh, he's a character, he's cool. Like I was so afraid of people to see that wall and judge me or whatever that is. But as soon as I would confess and as soon as I would get accepted in love, no condemnation, it was like, wait, oh, this is different. It felt even more weird. I'd rather them like reject me and everything like that because that's all I was ready for. Really? But man, they loved on me so good, so hard. Yeah. To where it brought me not just out of that season of isolation, but it also brought me to where I can talk about that. Right. I can be real about it. I know how hard it is for that person to hold everything in that they've gone through and to feel like people can't accept that. Yeah. So God is using me as a testimony to be like, that's a lie. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I like the way you just ended there because it kind of goes into the last thing that I wanted to talk about, which is during these transition periods or seasons where we go from one way of living to another way of living, whatever that looks like, whether it's relationship, job title, ministry, maybe we have to take a step back from ministry one way or the other. The enemy can really get you in those seasons because you're most vulnerable. You're kind of hopping from one boat to the next, and the enemy wants you to fall and drown. And yeah, has there ever been a time where that happens, where the enemy attacks you during those transition periods, makes you question if you're making the right decision? And how did you navigate that? And then we'll kind of end with that.
100%.
Yeah, talk about it.
The enemy loves to destroy things in their infancy, when they're learning how to walk, when they're learning how to crawl, especially in a new thing. Yeah. I literally get to see my girlfriend just got a car. Oh, my fiance. You know, my fiance.
Let's go. It's about time, Denisha and the fiance. My boy Teo. You know what I'm saying? I get my customer tab. He's like, man, I hope I'm not hurting you right here, but man, I gotta drive my girl to work. I'm like, you do that.
But you know what? It helped us to grow together.
Right. It's like you got a whole car ride date.
Yeah, exactly. And to learn to do those mundane things.
That's facts.
That, Lord. But I get to see her in her new car. Mm-hmm. She is so unfamiliar with it. It's because that old car, she knew where everything was at. She knew how it steered.
Oh, he's about to drop some bars right now.
You know what I'm saying? But in this new car, all of a sudden, you don't even know how to turn on the defrosters. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's a natural transition to learning this new thing. And I think the one thing that, not even that the enemy does, but the enemy uses is our attitude. As simple as that can be, obviously we can go into the Israelites complaining and that drawing out their wilderness period and everything like that. But let's take a story. I was watching these middle school girls play a basketball game, and the girls were getting cooked. You can see their attitude of disappointment, of, man, I should have stopped that girl. Yeah. You see that into the next play. You see them with their heads down. All of a sudden, they don't want to run as fast to defense. All of a sudden, they didn't want to put in that same effort compared to when that same girl made a basket. Man, they dapping each other up down the court. They're all their head is looking around for even the ball. That transition period from offense to defense, because they had a positive attitude, made a huge impact on that next play. As much as their bad attitude to that next play, you don't even want to talk about it. Yeah. and for me, I fall into the lie of, oh, even if I don't talk about it, that's as good as talking about it. But I have all those thoughts. It's literally like Jesus saying, oh, if you're even thinking about like killing your brother, you already did it. Yeah. And for me, I had to escape that and be like, wow, even just these thoughts are bringing down my attitude. With me having a poor attitude makes me not want to do these new things. Because I would so much rather do these old things because I know how it's going to go. I know how to feel. I know how to do just enough energy to fulfill this task. I know how it used to be. But now with this new thing, I need to have an attitude. I need to have a good attitude about it. And that's why, in countless stories, you know what I mean? Look at John the Baptist's dad. Is that the one where they made him where the angel quieted him up? Don't know. Beautiful. I know it was someone. I know someone's daddy, bro. Someone's daddy. The angel shut them up before until that baby was born, right? Okay. You know what I mean?
Maybe I just don't I don't know my Bible that well, so. Anyways, go ahead.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like if that father was expressing his doubt and was allowing that attitude to be poor, how can God really fulfill what it is that he said? Yeah. And it's so much like that for us. For me, especially, because I'd be sour, bro. I could get cynical, bro. I feel you. Lord knows. Lord knows. Yeah. Yeah. To where I would even have to talk about it and be like, well, this is why I even like to joke around. This is I like to laugh all the time. It forces me to be positive. It forces me to, even when I don't feel like it. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Of course, sometimes it's natural, but other times I need my brain to be fixated on the things positive and the things that are good, so that I can work toward those things of good. Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, that is it, man.
Beautiful.
Let's wrap up because we got 1 minute left. So, any last thoughts? You got 30 seconds if you want to tell people anything about transition periods.
It is okay to feel lost, but if you draw near to God, he will draw near to you. So you are just figuring out your footing. You are learning this new thing, and it's okay.
Yeah. Love it, man. So like Teo just said, if you're going through a transition period, hopefully this episode was for you, and we are praying that you handle that transition period to the best of your abilities, but more importantly, to the best of God's ability. So,
amen.
Teo, appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Peace.